When I took out my camera, there was this old man in front of me who got scared because he thought that it was some kind of a weapon. He was really scared. People don't really feel safe in this world, man. I mean, he's an old man. He's still alive, but he was scared. Because you never know what's going to happen to you. So people are living in fear. Animals are living in fear. They're afraid of pain. They don't want to get hurt. You're afraid of pain. You do not want to get hurt. So you try your best to protect yourself. And sometimes by protecting yourself, you limit yourself. Everything about this world tells us we are in some kind of a trap. If you are brave enough to be honest with yourself, you will see that we are in some kind of a trap. You don't need anyone to tell you that you are in some kind of a trap. You just look at how things work in this world, you know we are in some kind of a trap. Some people who are very conscious take that for granted. Some people who are aware that they are being manipulated, they don't realize what it took for them to become aware. Some of y'all tell yourselves that there's something wrong with you. That's why you see things the way that you see things. That means that there is something wrong with you. That is why you are different. That means that there is something wrong with you. That's why you feel the way that you feel. That means that there is something wrong with you. You are taking your level of awareness for granted. You are allowing people who don't understand what you understand to make you feel bad for understanding what you understand. Just because you are outnumbered. You understanding what you understand is a sign that you can free yourself. That is a sign. You live with people who can't tell when they are being lied to. They believe anything. They can't tell when they're being lied to. You can tell when you are being lied to. And you've been right. You've been right your whole life. Whenever something happened and you felt like something wasn't right, it was proven that, yeah, you were right. Something wasn't right. But there are people who believe anything, all right? There are people in this world who believe anything. You can convince them anything. If you really want to. You have to understand that there are some people in this world who are so damn unconscious that to make them believe what you want them to believe, you must just manipulate them. You can't just tell them the truth because they won't really understand it. Like, the only way to make them believe something is through manipulation, even the truth itself. See, if you want to tell them the truth, you must manipulate them. You must be like Bashar, you must tell people that you are channeling some entities. That's when they will believe you. Like, oh yeah, this person is. Because here's the thing: some people think you're like them. Is it? They're operating at a very low level of consciousness, and they look at you and be like, oh, that's another human. So this human is like me. So there's no way that they could possibly understand things that I do not understand. They believe that every human is operating at the same level of consciousness, unless they are being helped by higher power. That is why pastors can get away with anything. They can tell people that God wants them to buy them a car, for an example. A pastor can preach and be like, yeah, God says that you must buy me a Mercedes Benz. And they believe that. They don't even ask questions. Because, this pastor is hearing from God, and God is saying that we must buy him a Mercedes Benz, so we're going to buy him. You can talk to these people and be like, yo, but you do know that it's possible that this person might be lying to you, and they will hate you. They will look at you as their enemy. So for you to convince them that they are being lied to, you also have to manipulate them. You see? There's some people, they can't understand truth. It's like a person who doesn't understand math. Or physics. If there are two people, like I was watching a debate between Terrence Howard and this other guy, I forgot his name, on the Joe Rogan Experience. If you don't understand math at all, how would you be able to tell who's right? You probably believe the person who's more confident, the person who has some tricks, person who makes you laugh, because you have no way of telling who's right, because you don't understand math. Some people just don't have the cognitive ability to separate truth from lies. They just don't. So you understanding what you understand, bruh. Hey. You understanding what you understand means that you have already escaped a lot of traps. You have already escaped the traps that humans weren't supposed to escape. So how do you expect other people to treat you? How do you expect other people to treat you? How do you expect other people to perceive you? Sure, sure. Imagine animals that are locked in a cage that believe that the people who are keeping them there love them because they are giving them food, and when they are sick they make sure that they get treated so they get free food. They don't have to hunt anymore, they don't have to starve anymore, and when they are sick they get treatment. And they're also protected. They're protected from their natural predators. So they're free. That's what they will believe. Like, we're free because we're not scared. We know that we're not going to get attacked. We know that we're not going to get sick. I mean, if we do get sick, we're going to get treatment. So chances are we'll not die. And we get free food. We always get food. So if they got to communicate with animals that are actually free, they would say, look at y'all. You're suffering. You have to hunt. You have to look for food. You have to look for water. Sometimes you starve. When you get sick, no one is there to take care of you. Look at us. Someone is taking care of us. This is how religious people think. Look at us. We are free. It's God who's protecting us. I mean, even though these gods that they believe in are imaginary, what you must understand is that human beings, because they are more conscious than animals, it's not easy to trap them and they don't realize that they're in a trap. So you have to trap their mind. You have to imprison their mind. That's it. You have to imprison their souls. You have to make them think that they are free even when they are not free. By allowing them to make their own decisions, not keeping them in one place and telling them that they shouldn't leave. But now you allow them to do what they want, but make them feel guilty for doing some things. Make them feel like they're doing something wrong for thinking a certain way, for an example, feeling a certain way. They will live like prisoners. There are things that they won't do because you have imprisoned their minds. Is it? So it's kind of like how religious people think. I believe in my God. My God will protect you. You are in pain now because you haven't found Jesus. Trust me, if you find Jesus, you're going to be happy. So it will be like these animals that are in cages that are telling other animals that, hey, allow yourself to be captured and you'll be fine. You're not happy now because you are not protected. So being able to realize that, nah, these animals are trapped. The animals that will realize that will have to be operating at a very high level of consciousness. For you to be able to realize that people who are religious are trapped, you'd have to be operating at a very high level of consciousness. People will tell you that In order to be saved, you must be a slave. And not even realize that that's what they're telling you. In a world that you were born in without your consent, they're telling you that to be saved, you must become a slave. If you don't become a slave, you won't be saved, and it will be your fault. That doesn't make you feel like there's something wrong. That doesn't make you feel like, what the fuck? In a world that you were brought into without your consent, they're telling you that you have to believe in some imaginary gods so that you'll be saved. Otherwise, you're going to suffer forever if you don't believe in this imaginary God. You didn't ask to be here. Your own parents will tell you to believe in this imaginary gods. You didn't ask to be here, right? But then they will tell you that you must believe in these imaginary gods. Like, you have the responsibility to believe in this imaginary God. If you don't believe in this imaginary God, then you're going to suffer. You're like, what? Why put me in a game like that? That doesn't make any logical sense. That tells me that you do not think right. That tells me that your mind are imprisoned. That's what that tells me. It tells me that your mind are imprisoned. I am Jenny. Go. That tells me that you are not free. Because you do not make logical conclusions. I cannot bring someone into a world where they will have to do something in order to set themselves free. And if they're not able to do what they must do to set themselves free, they're going to be trapped for eternity. And I still believe that I have done the right thing. Like, that makes 0.000 point whatever sense. Like, it makes no sense. A person who thinks like that is very dangerous. They cannot be trusted. They don't think logically. You can see that they are defeated. They are not free. And they want you to not be free. The fact that the biggest religions in the world teach us to be slaves in order to be saved should actually tell you something about where we are. Like, that should tell you something about where we are. Because the biggest religions in the world do not tell us that we must set ourselves free, we must love ourselves, allow ourselves to grow. They're telling us that we must give up our free will. I mean, we don't really have free will, but to be able to free ourselves, we must behave as if we have free will. So these religions are telling us to give up our free will. You mustn't make your own choices. You mustn't do what makes the most sense. Just believe what you're being told. Just follow orders, and that's when you'll be free. These religions are also telling us that they are worshipping something that has created this whole thing, that has purposefully put everyone in this trap, and it is also saying we must worship it for it to free us. And they believe that this thing that they are worshipping is good. And what the F? Think right, you'll be free. You've got to think right. Don't believe things that make no sense just because you are scared. This matrix is going to manipulate you in so many different ways to keep you in a state of fear, so that it will control you, so that you do not think rationally. I'm telling you that everything about this realm tells us that it is some kind of a trap. Everything. So if you think rationally, you'll see that, okay, yeah, it is some kind of a trap. But if you don't think rationally, you won't see that it is some kind of a trap. You'd find yourself condoning slavery and not even realizing that you're condoning slavery. You're going to romanticize slavery without realizing that you're romanticizing slavery. You see? You're going to worship the devil without realizing that you are worshiping the devil. You're going to follow the cosmic Hitler without realizing that you're following the cosmic Hitler. I do believe that Hitler had blind followers who thought that what he was doing was good. So if there's a Hitler that is operating on a cosmic level, of course there would be some naive individuals who are going to believe that this entity is doing the right thing, has the best interest at heart. People will make you feel like you are insane for thinking rationally, because they don't think rationally. Insanity in today's society is being different. That's insane. Like, that's what's considered insanity. You being different, you being yourself. It doesn't matter how right you are. It doesn't matter how rational you are. Could be the most rational minded individual in the world. If the people that you live with do not understand you, they're going to conclude that you are insane. So if you're not strong enough, you're going to allow them to bring you down because you don't realize how conscious you are. You are undermining yourself. You don't realize that you're operating at a very high level of awareness. That's why you understand the things that you understand. Ever since I was a little kid, I always had a feeling that this was some kind of a trap. I didn't want to believe that it was some kind of a trap at first. But if you care about the truth and you keep on seeing the truth, and you remain in denial, you reach a point where you're like, hey man, like this is really the truth. Like, I've been in denial my whole life, I've been seeing evidence that this is some kind of a trap. But I've been in denial. The reason why I was in denial is because I looked at other people and they seemed to not see what I was seeing. So I automatically assumed that they were more right than I am. That's why most of them do not see what I see. So that means that they are right. You see, because remember, we live in a world where, people believe that numbers don't lie, right? Like when we vote, it doesn't really matter if the majority of people vote for the wrong person. If the majority of people vote for the wrong person, that's it. That person wins. Is it? So you, as a human, you're supposed to think that if you are alone, it means that you are wrong, right? if other people do not understand what you understand, it means that you are wrong. So you tell yourself that you're wrong. That is why there are some people who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses, even if they do not have mental illnesses and they believe that they have mental illnesses. Some people told them that, hey, when a person behaves this way, it means that they have, this kind of mental illness, and they just believe that they have a kind of mental illness. And some people tell me that they have mental illnesses when we're communicating, and I ask them why they think they have mental illness. And they tell me that, well, because sometimes I feel this way, sometimes I feel this, and I'm like, what? Isn't it possible that you have given some people so much power that you believe whatever they tell you without asking yourself what the real truth is? There are some people who really don't suffer from any mental illness. They're just too conscious, and because of that, they suffer in some way. There's always gonna be there's always gonna be a side effect of being too conscious. You have to understand that. So sometimes you're not gonna feel good. Sometimes the weight that you're carrying is going to be too much for you. You are trapped in a human body, right? And of course, there are some things that you just can't handle as a human. You can't handle some emotions. Like there are some things that you just can't handle as a human. So of course, sometimes you're gonna, break down and cry and maybe feel alone and feel like you're not good enough and feel like there's something wrong with you. Feel all these negative emotions. But you must also realize that you're operating at a very, very high level of consciousness. I know that there's been so many people that I've communicated with who are very conscious. Like very, very, when I'm communicating with them, I'm like, shit, I'm mind blown. Like, this is crazy. I didn't know that there were people who understand this. I'm like, damn, why ain't you making videos? Because damn, like, what the hell? Like, you're too damn conscious. If you're afraid to make videos, write a book, because you're too damn conscious. Like, there's a lot that people can learn from you. I've had deep conversations with a lot of people in this world, and they're just not that conscious. Even the people that I felt were intelligent, like really, really intelligent, but still they're not operating at your level of consciousness. And you want to tell me that you have some mental illnesses? Like, no, you're just too damn conscious. You're just too damn intelligent. Some people don't know how to think rationally, bruh. I'm able to explain the things that I'm telling you because I think rationally. There's no way that a person can debate with me, really. Like, you cannot really debate what I'm saying. What you can tell me is what you believe. Like, oh yeah, actually no, this world is both a prison and a school. It depends on how you look at it. This is what you'd say. No, it can't be both a prison and a school. If it was created to be a prison, then it is a prison. You can learn how to escape, but that doesn't mean that it was created to be a school. If it was created to be a school, then it is not a prison. But it will feel like a trap, even though it is not a prison. Like, just like if you were in a classroom and if you fail, you don't go to the next grade. It doesn't mean that you are really in a prison. I mean, some schools are prisons, government schools, But yeah, you can be in a classroom where you are being taught things that are actually necessary for you to learn. And if you fail, you remain in that class until you pass. So that doesn't mean that you are in a prison. That it wasn't created to be a prison. It was created to be a school. So it's not both a school and a prison. What I'm telling you is that this ain't no school, all right? What you must realize is that you cannot learn anything if you are focusing on surviving. How can you even learn anything if you're focusing on survival. When you wake up in the morning, you're thinking, how do I survive? Damn, how do I make money? What do? I don't have a job. I'm trying to find a job. Damn, how do I avoid this person? Because this person is getting on my nerves. Damn, how do I make my girlfriend love me more? How do I make my boyfriend love me more? How do I make my wife, you know what I mean? You're focusing on survival. Every person who has ever learned anything knows that you can't really learn anything if you are just like focusing on just trying to survive. If you're afraid, you know what I mean, like you don't really learn. Like you learn when you are really focusing on what you are learning. If we're focusing on making money, if we're focusing on making our relationships work, because you know you feel better when your relationships are working, so that's survival. And also when your relationships are working, it means that people are going to treat you well, so you're going to get positive results. That's survival. When you're focusing on that, you're not really going to learn anything. You're just going to learn how to make your relationships work. You're just going to learn how to make money. You're just going to learn how to sing, how to produce music, how to write, how to work with people, you know. But really, you cannot, you wouldn't have been brought here to learn how to survive here. That doesn't make any sense, right? Like you can't be put here for the sake of just surviving, because that's if the lessons that people are learning are lessons that actually help them survive. They're not learning anything. Like the people who are successful in this world are people who are learning how to survive in this world. And usually these people are not very conscious. Usually these people are not treating other people very well, right? So really, are they learning anything? And the people who are at the bottom, they're just suffering and they're scared and they don't know what to do. So no one is actually winning. Those who are less conscious, who don't really care about other people, are doing what they gotta do to survive and they're winning. Those who are very conscious, who know how other people should be treated, they're not doing too much because they know how you know, their actions affect others, so they just want to do good things that are good all the time, but that puts them at a disadvantage. And because of that, the people who make it because they don't really care, they still oppress them one way or another, so they suffer. So what they're really learning is to detach themselves from the world, and we couldn't have been brought here to learn to detach ourselves from this world. So it's obviously not a school. Everything tells us that it is not a school. Everything tells us that it is some kind of a trap. The people who say that this is a school fail to answer some questions. Like when you ask them, okay, if it's a school, why is it that I do not remember my past lives? And what is it that I've actually learned? They might say, oh, you've learned how to love. Like, huh? Bruh, like human beings don't know how to love, bruh. Like we're not learning any. Like what the world is doing is actually making us less conscious. Like it's not making us more conscious, it's not teaching us how to. You cannot teach people how to be better people by putting them in a place where they have to bed to one another in order to survive. You have to understand that. You see, you put them people. Let's say you erase people's memories completely, and you put them in a place where they have to unalive one another in order to survive. Because, well, there's no food. There is no way that you put them there to learn anything. You just put them there for your entertainment because they can't really learn anything. But if you want people to learn, they have to know what they are actually learning. People learn more effectively when they know what they're supposed to be learning. If you realize that, if you've ever, like, if you are a teacher, you know what I'm talking about. If you tell your students what they need to study, they're going to perform better than when you just say, study everything I've taught you. Is it? If you tell them, okay, focus on this chapter, they're going to perform better than when you just say, just study everything that I've taught you. You know what I mean? So people learn more effectively when they know what they're supposed to be learning. When you look at your life, what is it that you've actually learned? You know, if I ask you all guys what you have learned, what do you tell me? You know, some of y'all will tell me that, oh, I've learned that being a good person doesn't you know, help you in this life. I've learned that I shouldn't be kind. I've learned that love doesn't exist. I've learned that if you show other people that you love them, they take you for granted. Like, people are learning lessons that are making them more selfish. Is it? Because when you are good, life really, give you hell. And you start to think, well, maybe being good is not a good thing. Because when I'm really good and kind, I experience a lot of BS. And when I'm not being real, when I'm not being kind, things seem to kind of work out. So really, what are people really learning here? Other than learning how to survive, how to manipulate one another, how to lie to one another, how to play one another. You go on TikTok, everyone is talking about relationships. It's so damn scary. Women will be like, well, never text a guy first. Never tell a guy how much you love him. Never, some guys will like, never show a girl that you love. Like, that's what people are learning. It's because, they have shown their girls that they love them and their girls took them for granted. So they're like, I guess I ain't got to show them that I love. People are learning BS. Like, we're learning things that are making us more fucked up, not things that are making us better, because we get negative results when we do things the right way. You see? But like I keep on telling you, never sell your soul for candy. I'm telling you that keep doing the right thing, keep on vibrating at a very high level, at a very high frequency, keep on operating at a very high level of consciousness. Let the world reject you for being real. You'll be fine. Don't lie so that you'll be accepted by this realm. You are more powerful than you think you are. What do I mean when I say you are powerful? I mean that you are able to make decisions. That's a superpower. You can make decisions. You see, there are people, when they wake up in the morning and I don't do anything at all, they still thinking about what other people think, right? What will people say about this? When they're working in the street, they still care what other people are saying about them. You're not free. You do have the power to say, I do not give a fuck. And you keep on working on that. It'll get to a point where you truly do not give a fuck. It is not easy, of course, to not care when, like, what other people are saying about you. When they are saying negative things about you, it's not easy to not care, but you must understand that you caring too much about what other people are saying is also keeping you in chains. Like, you're not free. So if people are unable to be free because they care what other people are saying, of course it's up to them to free themselves. No one else is going to free you. Benedictines can't free you. No Jesus is going to free you. Actually, to free yourself, you must be able to free yourself even when you are in this realm. This is what a lot of people do not realize. You must actually be able to free yourself in this realm. You shouldn't only be free when you transcend. You free yourself now while you are still here. There's a lot of things that are making you feel insecure. You have to free yourself from that. It's your job. This isn't any other person's job. It's yours. It's your job. You need to free yourself from nonsense. All right? Because here's the thing. Like I keep on telling you that they've imprisoned your consciousness. They've imprisoned your soul. They've imprisoned your mind. So even when you go to other realms, you still be insecure. You still care what other people are saying. You are dealing with entities that can show you anything that they want to show you. All right, they can make you feel in any way that they want to make you feel. So if you do not have a strong mind, if you still care what other people are saying, if you believe anything, they will be able to manipulate you. You need to get to a point where you're so damn conscious that you realize that it really doesn't matter what other people are saying, bruh. Like, for real, it really doesn't matter. Even if you're not good enough, even if you're crazy, even if you're ugly, even if you're fat, even if you're stupid, it doesn't matter. Listen, you didn't create this thing, all right? So it's not your responsibility to protect it so much that you are scared to be yourself and go out there. Let me tell you this. The way this matrix works is kind of weird. I keep on telling you that it wants our energy one way or another. So if you have a kind heart, if you want to do the right things, if you want things to be better in the world, the matrix is going to make it hard for you to succeed. It's going to make it hard for you to get the things that you want. It's going to make your life hard. If you're selfish, if you're unconscious, if you don't really care about how your actions affect others, if you are very manipulative, the matrix is going to make things easier for you. There's a reason why a lot of people say that women love guys who do not care about them. Like, if you don't care about her, if you're not vulnerable, if you're not, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't show her that you care, she loves you more. She can't control her feelings. The matrix works that way. If you do not care about other people, if you're not the rational minded person, if you're just an asshole, the matrix is going to be like, oh, this person deserves good results. Why? So that you will make people suffer because you're selfish. So it still gets what it wants because you are this selfish prick who keeps on causing suffering. So if you are at the bottom and you are suffering and you see that you are a good person, you're a kind person, you free yourself by realizing that none of this that is happening is really real. All right, it's only this reality has been constructed to make you release, this energy that this matrix wants. That's it. You're a good person. You can't help the matrix by if it puts you on top, you can't really help it. So if you're at the bottom, then you can release the kind of energy that it wants when the people who are at the top are making you suffer. When people who are not conscious are making you suffer. Like, it can put you in a very, very bad situation so that you constantly suffer. So I'm saying you have to let go, and be like, it is what it is. I know that I'm right. I know that I think right. I know that I think rationally. If the matrix is the way that it is, let it be the way that it is. What can I do? I'm not going to sell my soul for candy. I'm not going to change who I am, even if I know that I'm right, even if I know that I've been right all along. I cannot be ashamed of myself. You see, I'm going to do things that make the most sense, even if the world doesn't want me to do things that make the most sense. I'm going to say things that make the most sense, even if the world doesn't want me to say things that make the most sense. I'm not going to dim my light just because in this realm, because everything is upside down, to make it you must dim your light. Like, nah. Because if you decide to dim your light, if you decide to sell your soul for candy, when you leave this reality, you still be vibrating at a very low frequency. So you're not going to free yourself. You free yourself by vibrating at a higher frequency. You vibrate at a higher frequency when you are integrous, when you are real, when you speak the truth, when you have enough courage to say, hey, this is who I am, bro. I don't care what you guys are saying. I don't think it's true. If I thought it was true, then yeah, I would believe y'all. You know, I don't believe what I believe just because I'm lazy, or I don't think the way that I think because I'm lazy. I just think I'm right, you know, and I'm not afraid. And I think I should trust myself more because I don't believe what I believe because I'm afraid. I don't think the way that I think because I'm afraid. I do not feel the way that I feel because I'm afraid. You believe what you believe because you're afraid. Some of y'all believe in the religions that you believe in because you're afraid of the devil, you're afraid of witches, you're afraid of God. You know, these religions even tell you that you must fear God. If you weren't scared of God, you probably wouldn't be going to church. So you go to church because you're scared of God. You're like, hey, if I don't go to church, this guy might torture me for eternity, and I don't want to deal with that. Everything about this world tells us that it's a trap. Everything tells us that it's not a school. So believe in yourself enough to not take your level of awareness for granted. Just because some people make you feel like you are wrong. Because some people make you feel insecure. Because some people make you feel like there is something wrong with you. Nah. You need to learn to believe in yourself more. No one knows what it's like to be you. You don't know what it's like to be other people. You don't know why other people think the way that they think. Maybe you are in a simulation and you're the only conscious person here, and other people that you are interacting with are just here to fool you. So they believe nonsense to see if you're not gonna believe the same nonsense that they believe. To see if you're not gonna copy them because you're trying to survive. This reminds me of this experiment where some people were put in a room. They were doing some experiment to see if people do not copy one another, even if they don't understand what they're doing. So there was this red light, or there was this red light, right? That and then a beeping sound, right? Whenever you see the red light, there will also be like this sound. Yeah, whenever people saw the red light, there was this sound. So there's this guy that started standing up whenever he heard the sound. He would stand up and then sit down. When he hears the sound, like he hears the sound again, you stand up and then sit down. When he hears the sound again, you stand up and then sit down. And some people joined him. They stood up. I think there were a few people who were in on it. There was just maybe a few, like maybe there was like maybe 9 people, and 4 of them knew what was going on. So one guy started standing up when he heard the sound, and sitting down, and then standing up whenever he heard the sound, and then sitting down, and then the other people who were in on it started standing up as well. So everyone decided to stand up as well, not knowing what they're doing. And what's crazy is that they wouldn't even ask, like, hey, what's going on? Why are you standing up? Right? It didn't matter how ridiculous it was to them. They still copied what he was doing. You see, that's why when you look at the way some people do things, you're like, but that's stupid. But how do they continue to do these things without asking themselves why they're doing these things, right? It's because they were copying one another. If you are powerful in your community and there are things that you're doing and some people are copying you, what's going to happen is that more and more people are going to copy you without asking questions. Why you are doing these things, why you are talking that way, you know what I mean? That's why people believe in nonsense. That's why there are some things that are being done in some cultures that don't make any sense. You're like, damn, why are you doing that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no logical explanation for what you're doing. And actually, what you're doing is bad. It actually has like negative effect, but you're still doing it. But hey, my grandparents would, my great grandparents were doing this. So, you know, it's part of my culture. Like, what? Like, human beings do not understand how programmable they are. They don't understand that they have big egos. Once you program them, that's it, you got them. Once you manipulate them and make them believe what they believe, they hold these beliefs as if it's their beliefs, right? Because they're programmable. They are easily corrupted. You can be made to believe anything. To be honest with you, as a human, you can be made, I mean, unless you're super conscious. But really, most people can be made to believe anything. Like anything. If they wanted the whole world to believe in Islam, most people will be Muslims, all right? Most people, if they wanted the whole world to believe in Buddhism, most people in the world, like, they can make us believe anything because they understand how our minds work. They know how to manipulate us. So if you want to be free, you must stop doing nonsense. If something doesn't make sense to you, ask questions like, hey, why are we doing this? If people do not come up with a good explanation, then don't do it. Right? Do not copy people who are doing things that do not make sense. Because the things that they're doing do not make sense to you. So why do you sell your soul? Why do you sell your soul for candy? Instead of being free and doing things that actually make sense to you. Doing things that you can justify. If another person asks you, hey, why are you doing this? You'll be able to explain why you're doing it. Rather than saying, oh, it's my culture, it's my religion. This is what my grandparents told me that I must do. This is what my father told me I must do. I'm like, yeah, well, it's what their fathers told them they must do. But they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. If you ask them, they won't tell you why they're doing what they're doing. So really, no one knows what they're doing. So isn't it better that you become real because no one knows what they're doing? Instead of copying other people just because you're trying to fit in. You're in a trap. You're not escaping if you're going to be copying other people. Realize how conscious you are. If you're watching this video, I know that you're conscious. So realize how conscious you are. Appreciate how conscious you are. No, don't behave like people who are not conscious. Thank you all, guys.